Hi, I'm Robert from Royal Manufacturing. We make precision gold prospecting equipment. We're going to see our mini HighBanker recirculator today. It's a real easy setup. I'll show you it right out of the box. It's got a 800 gallon per hour pump right here. Runs on 12 volt. Set that paper aside. Open it up right here. We got our legs. Check it out. There's our legs. Okay. There's our box. Get rid of the box. This is our instructions. We don't need that because I'm going to show you how to use it today. We'll set that aside. The paper works. Unfolds. This is in its compact. It all folds down right there. Real compact. You can set it up right here. First thing you do is slide this thing up. We got 4 different angles here. The legs go right down here. That's a really steep angle. I'll tell you about that in a little while, but we're just going to set it up. We're going to put it right there. Put it right there. These bolts are stainless steel right here. They don't rust on you. Our legs right here. I'll tell you about that. We got 2 kind of legs. Let's look at the legs right here. We got 2 kind of legs right here. We got straight legs, which are flat on there. And you notice there's a hole right there. What that's for is, when you're running this, you'll be shoveling material right in here with a shovel, and it'll move on you. If you're stationary for a long period of time, I recommend bringing a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and you'll screw this down to a piece of plywood and bury that in a little bit of dirt, and you got a strong foundation to shovel into. I'll show you about that. Then we got angled legs. So we got straight legs and angle legs. You know this gold color here, that's gold zinc. That protects you from rust, so it won't rust up on you. You notice the hole goes all the way through. It doesn't hold water. So angle legs go at this end. This is our feeding end. Straight legs go at this end. So let's go ahead and put our legs in. So we said the straight legs go over here. The hole goes to the outside in case you want to screw it down. So put our hole right there. Let's put that in. Loosen our wing nuts. These wing nuts are stainless steel right there. They don't rust on you. We'll just clamp it down right there a little bit. Put our other leg on there. Make sure it's a straight one. Put that right on there. And put our hole to the outside. Drop that on there. Grab our angle legs, and we're going to put them on this side right here. Again, the hole on the outside. Put that right there, and our last leg over here. There's basically fully assembled with the legs. The pump goes in our water. Now this little holder right here, what that does is it goes on a reservoir. When you use it as a recirculator, it sits inside of a 33-gallon plastic bucket that you can get from like Target or Home Depot or something. And this hangs on the outside, on the inside of the bucket, and holds it up off the bottom so it doesn't suck on silt. As a HighBanker, where we got running water here, we're not running it as a recirculator. We got plenty of water. We're going to use it as a HighBanker. So we're actually going to drop this into our creek right here and make it go. So we're going to bring this over to our creek here, get it set up. Now, as you see, it's got 4 independent legs, so we can level it off in any terrain. If big rocks, little rocks, no problem. This swivels, if you rock off from this side or that side, swivels to either side for which side you're working on. I'm going to do a rubber band right here. Again, this is a 12 volt motor. It draws 3 amps. So that's a really low draw. It does 800 gallons per hour. We want to protect this from pine needles. When I go up to Big Bear and our local mountain stuff, pine needles get in here really bad. I put a stocking over here. It keeps the pine needles from getting in here. Also, leaves like this tend to clog it up like this. So we're going to drop this in here. What we're going to use is just merely a milk jug. Just cut it off right here. I'm going to set that inside here so it doesn't suck up the leaves and clog our pump. If our pump did get clogged up, it's got a little button right here. All you do is push it right there, give it a quarter turn this way, and it comes apart. It's also got a button right here. You can take the top off, and it comes off, and you can get into the impellers or something. Then you merely just line up the 2 lines right there and just push it back together. Let's see, it's right on this side. And just give it a click right there. It's reassembled again. It's real easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our milk jug, like I said. We'll drop a rock in it, the clog to hold it, the bucket from falling off, and we'll drop our pump right inside there. So we're not sucking up our leaves and stuff. And we're going to drop this in our creek right here. Right here. We're going to dig a little hole for it. And we'll put that right there. Next thing to do is, what we're using here is, this is a wheelchair battery. It's got 35 amp hours deep cycle. It's fully sealed, so you can turn it upside down. We're not losing acid in the creek and stuff. It's got a nice carrying handle. We got 35 amps. We got 3 amp. What's that? 8 hours. So that's an 8-hour day on one little battery like that. It's easy to carry. That's what I recommend using. We can get it right here in the water. Don't have to worry about spilling acid or nothing. Turn it on. Now we're going to set the angle. Whoop. Sucking air. Okay, now we're get to set it up right here, get a little bit closer right here. We're going to set the angle up right now. People ask me, what's the right angle? You got to look at the material. Now you see it's all running off one side here. You want to see a nice even waterfall. The faster you get it going, the faster it'll process the material. It's still it's still uneven, so we need to raise this side and level it off. That's getting more level. And we're going to level this off right there. Tighten it up. And that's looking pretty good. I'm going to put another rock over here to channel some more water in there. It's not deep enough quite here. There, that's a good water flow right there. So talking about these angles here, we got it on the highest angle. What that does is allows the material to rough off very quickly. On lower angles, right here, on the lowest angle, which should be right here, that makes for a flatter. That is for like dirt clods and mosses and gravels and stuff where you want to sit there and mash it up before it rolls off to get all that material off your mouse. Especially dirt clods where you're trying to bust them up right here so it doesn't roll off. For this type of material, this is just flow sands and gravels. We want it, it's very steep, so it's just self-cleaning. Okay, so we're going to use the highest one for the flow sandals. So the flatter one is for clays, and the higher one is for flow sands and gravels. So we're going to run it up here at the higher one. We have 4 different angles that we can use it at. Right there. Next thing is selecting materials. We're at a creek right here. If you look right here, it comes around the bend right here and goes that way. And we see there was a bank over here, so the creek goes clear up to there, and I see a bank up here. So when this water is flowing around the corner right here, it's slower in the inside of the bend and faster on the outside of the bend. So this material right here has probably got little to no gold in it, and the material up on the bank is where it turned around the corner and settled in the corner. So we're going to get our material up here against the bank up here and see what we can get. So we've got our machine running right here, and we're going to get our material over here. Let's go over here and see what we got. Now, unlike a sluice box where you have to use a classifier, the mini HighBanker's got a classifier array built into it. Now you can classify it, it'll make it run a little bit faster, but it's not necessary. Now we want to look around for an area that we might think it's got some good gold. Now a rock like this, when it floods, it comes over here and acts like an eddy, and gold would get caught behind this rock. So right down here at the base of this rock would be a real good spot for material. Right here. Because the gold's going to fall around the corner and act like a natural riffle. It's going to fall off behind that right there. That would be the optimum spot to run our material. And probably the deeper the better. Now we got rocks and stuff in here. We're not worried about that. Our classifier will take care of that. Now if you want to save a little bit of weight, we could classify it, but we're not worried about that. We're worried about trying to get down here and get some good gold. Okay, let's get a couple more scoops here. Again, I want to get underneath that rock. Right there where it would cause a natural riffle. Now I like these 5-gallon buckets, really universal, but the 2.5 gallon bucket. If you have kids helping you, the kids like to play in the dirt, they'll fill this whole thing clear full of dirt for you. Dad, I got it full of dirt. Oh, that's great, but oh, it's so heavy. I can't haul it over there. You give them these 2.5 gallon buckets, they can't overfill it for you. And easier to handle too. So let's take these buckets over there and see what we can do. Now again, looking at our angle, we're going to look at our materials and see that dictates what angle we have. Again, we can slow it down or we can speed it up. You see how fast it's running right now? Watch me how I slow it down. See how much slower that is? I can slow it down to the type of gold. If I got really super fine gold, I can slow it down to the point where it's almost clogging it up. We never want to see the riffles completely full of sand and gravels, okay? But again, we don't want to see it completely full, but we want to, it's a 50-50 rule. We want to see half of it full of sand and gravels, and the other half being clean. So, like I said, by bringing it down, making it flatter, run slower. Bringing it higher makes it run faster. So we're going to look at our materials. Generally, flow sands, you can have a steeper sand, but clays and stuff, you want to run slower. Okay, we're going to run our material through here right now. We got our 2.5 gallon bucket. We'll do that one first. Again, just slop it on there. It liquefies it. That's all clean already. I'll wash that rock off a little bit better and pull that off of there. Now let's look at our materials, see what that's happening right there. We really don't have enough material yet, so let's keep doing it. There's a good pile of dirt. And in a few seconds, that'll liquefy it. I like to use a little scoop like this. It's much easier on my hands. Pull it back up, push it down. That's your tailings. Again, this much material in a gold pan would probably take you 3 or 4 minutes to pan it out nicely. Here we're running the same material, 20 seconds. Now we're looking and see what we're doing here. Looking good. There's material behind the riffles. It's not filling up all the way. We can run it a little bit faster. If we want to run it a little bit faster, all we do is run our legs down a little bit like that, and that's run a little bit faster. Name of gold prospecting is move a lot of material to find a little bit of gold. And that's what this does for you. Again, there's liquefied, and you're done. So we can process a lot of material. With the classifier here, you can shovel right off the bank. Remember I was telling you about those holes? How you could screw that down to a piece of plywood. You had a piece of plywood right there. Screw it down with these holes right there. See the hole right there? You have a really strong foundation and bury that in dirt. Now you can really got a strong foundation to shovel a material in. So you can process all this material right here by grabbing it up there. Now this is the optimum material? Probably not. That bank behind that rock is probably a lot better. Let's see if we get some stuff. A lot of rocks. Who cares? We're good. Put in there. Liquefied tailings. There. Big rock shovel right there. Shovel it in. There's liquefied tailings. We're doing good. Looks really good. Got material behind the riffles, and it's flowing right down. Looking really good. There's the tailing pile going down the stream right there. Wash all those rocks clean. You want to make sure those rocks get clean. Sometimes there'll be a little gold hooked on little corners of rocks and stuff. Make sure it's nice and clean. There's our tailing pile. Sometimes if I'm working a long time, what I'll do is I'll get another bucket right here. I'll put a 5-gallon bucket on top of another bucket, and I'll put my tailings in here. Because once in a while, it gets like this big and it's so close where I can't work no more. I'll pick up my tailing piles and haul them away so it's not so close to my machine when I get a big pile like that. Within an hour, you'll have a pile of rocks that big. Like I say, the name of the gold prospecting, you got to move a lot of material, and that's what this guy does for you. Again, shoveling it right off the ground, putting it right in there. And it's looking really good. We're going to run some of this material that we pulled up behind that hole. We didn't classify it because we don't need to. Again, there's a rock for you. There's some moss and stuff. But you can see the amount of material that you can process is great. Now, if we're working together with another person, they'd be getting more material while I'm running this. Get a two-man operation here. You can process a lot more material. So you can see how fast it liquefies it. There's a good, I mean, we almost got done with this 5-gallon bucket in a matter of several minutes. Look at it. Doing good. Looks really good. We can slow it down. Let's slow it down again. Let's see what you can see it slower. Again, you want to make sure that nice and even. If it's off the one side, all the material would one side like that. It only take that much to make it not run efficiently. So we want to level it off. We're making it a little bit slower. A little bit longer than that one. That looks good. Let's keep moving. Now, unlike the sluice box where you have the rubber mat, here we need to look and see what we're getting, but it's real easy. I'll show you how to do a clean out, see if we're getting anything. It looks really good. There's a 5-gallon bucket right there. That went fairly fast. And again, we're running this in the HighBanker mode, which means we have a water supply and we're just pumping it to it. Now, if we didn't have water supply, normally we put this in a 33-gallon reservoir and it fits inside of it. It fits this, the 2 tailing buckets, and the lid all fits on there, and we'll use that as a recirculator, which means we're taking the same water and using it over and over again. If we're using it over and over again, what we do is we put this bucket right here inside of our reservoir. Now the water that overflows out of here, we'd put our pump in that reservoir and pump it right back up to the top right there. So this is our tailing bucket. So right now we're catching tailings. There's another bucket. Now as our tailing bucket fills up, we would catch this water now. Here it comes right now. Again, we never want to see the thing completely full of sand. You want to see dirt, clean, dirt, clean, dirt, clean. Now as the water overflows into our reservoir, that's the water we're going to pump back to the tank. So then we have a recirculator. So here is the recirculator, recirculating the same water over again, or a HighBanker, which we don't care. And again, we can take the material off the bank or just merely just start shoveling it right here off the bank. Let's get a few more shovels through here and we'll do a clean out and see what we're getting. Lots of rocks. Hard to get a rock. Lots of rocks. So you see that? This is your 10-inch pan. This is what you normally would prospect with, okay? We threw the rocks out, put that in our pan. That's about a pan that you'd go out and pan if you had the rocks missed out. Probably about 3 minutes. Same material through here. Done. Name of the game of gold prospecting, you got to move a lot of material to find a little bit of gold, and that's what this HighBanker does for you. And again, we're catching the tailings. Now we'd use 2 buckets. What that 2 buckets was, we don't want to pick this thing clear full of wet dirt because it's going to be really heavy. So when it gets about half full, we're going to take that one out and exchange it with a clean one. And then we'll let it settle, and we'll clean it out and save our water if we're recirculating the same water over and over again. And that would be our tailings there. That stuff we already processed, that's not going to be used anything at all. Now, the nice thing about a recirculator is when you go out to let's say you go out to the desert, you drove 2 hours to get out to the desert, you go dry washing, and the ground is wet. There's nothing between perfectly dry dirt and wet dirt. If it clumps up like that, it's too wet for a dry washer. That's where you bring your recirculator with you, and you can still process your material when your dry washer won't work because it rained 3 weeks ago and the ground's wet. I always bring my recirculator with me, and it takes about 10 gallons of water to start with and about 20 gallons from there on out. So it's not a really light machine to use, but if the ground's wet, you're not doing nothing. And that's where our recirculator comes in. Let's get a couple more shovels in here and I'll do a clean out. Again, that's a pan full and it's processed already. And again, I wouldn't normally run this stuff. I'd get up there at the bank where that was behind that rock. We were running our sluice box here earlier today, and we got some little couple specks of gold up on that bank, so I know there's a little bit of gold up there. Really good construction. Fully welded right here, stainless steel bolts. This is the main thing of the whole unit right there. This is the expanded metal. It's 13 gauge. It's about 3 gauges heavier than the other brand of machine out there. Fully welded, all plated, good construction. Like I said, this is the most important part of the whole machine right here is the classifier. We got 3/16 rivets holding it down with backup washers. It's supported on all 4 sides. Like I said, this gets the main abuse because you're smashing up those dirt clods, you're raking the rocks off. This is the main spot of the machine right here, right there. I can even stand on this thing. Let me get up here. Right there. There we go. 175 pounds standing right on the classifier right there. You can't do that with other brands of machines like this. So we got good quality manufacturing, very strong. So let's do a clean out. Let's see what we got here. We're gonna undo our battery, take that out. We're gonna get a clean bucket, not full of our tailings. We want a nice clean bucket. You know, I like this 2.5 gallon bucket better. It's easier to see. Not so heavy. So what we're going to do is, let's see if we can see any gold. I think I see a couple little specks right up here. Right here, there's a little speck right here. One right there and one right there. So I can see 2 little specks. There's also one right there, That's a nice spot right there. Okay, so let's take it out and see. So it's whole held by 1 wing nut. No tools needed to clean it out right here. I'm going to pick up our main riffles. Take that off. That's our main riffle. Set that aside. The expanded metal acts like our secondary riffles. That also protects our gold when there's bigger rocks and stuff flowing through here. So we're going to take that out. Oh yeah, we got some nice stuff here. Look at it, look at it. Right here, here's a couple of nice little pieces right here. Here's one right here. I can almost pick it up with my fingers. That's a nice piece there. It's not real big, but right there. I see a couple of those fine flakes too. Oh, here's another nice one right here. Like I said, we're getting some gold out of that rock earlier. There's another piece right there. So we got at least 3 little nice pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this up with our water here. Get our clean water. And we're gonna put that right there. And all we're gonna do is proceed to roll up our carpet. Now we're rolling up all our sands, rocks, and gravels, and our gold too. And we're gonna get that stuff right there. So I see another little piece right here. Here's 2 more pieces. So we might have about a dozen pieces here. And put that in our bucket right here. Now, before I take it, there's still some more dirt in there. Everybody says, oh, how do I get all that dirt out of there? It's all stuck in there. It's really easy. Just push the battery on one more time. Hold the bucket up so it doesn't fly out. It'll do a washout for you right there. Right there, all nice and clean. Perfectly clean. Hardware is pushed in here, so it's a PIM stud. It's permanently stuffed in there, won't get away from you. Now we're gonna do our carpet. So we got our carpets in there. Shake it up and down. Gonna wash all that gold out of there. Okay? Now with a carpet rolled up like this, it's gonna grab that gold. It's rolled up like that. It's gripping the gold in the ribs of the carpet. What you do, and I shake it up and down pretty good. I still got some sand in there. What we're gonna do is I'll roll our carpet. That opens up the carpet fibers and more stuff will fall out. More materials, including gold. So wash it inside and out. There's nice clean carpet right there. And again, set that aside. Now what's inside of here is all of our materials. Those 2 buckets, the stuff I shut off the bottom right here. This is our concentrates now. So all this is concentrated. Now I'm gonna get my safety pan and pour this out so I don't pour any gold out. Now when you get a new bucket like this, these are injection molded. They got what's called mold release. You see how that water is beating on top of that like that? That has got oil on there. There's mold release. When you get a new bucket like this, go grab some sand and scratch that thing up and get that so it's not, this is a brand new bucket. We should have done that. But same thing with a pan. You get a brand new pan and you see it beating on top like that, get some sand and rough that up. You'll do much better. You don't want to have oil on your hand like hand cream and stuff because they'll make the gold float to the surface. So now we're going to pour off our excess water, being careful not to dump it back into the stream here. So we end up with that much dirt from those several 5-gallon buckets that we put through here. The stuff we scratched off here, we got down to there. So that is concentrates there. Now what I'm going to do, we didn't lose much. I don't see nothing there. We're going to pan that out and see what we got. I like to use my hex pan here. Unlike a normal pan, each time you go back and forth, it concentrates it right down to the corner. It's got 3 different areas on it. When you're panning back and forth, each time it goes back and forth, it concentrates it closer to the corner. With a round pan, every time you're sluicing back and forth, it's sliding side to side to side. So I really believe in this pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on top of here. Get a little bit of water in here now, just enough to wash it out. We've got some big rocks in there, but that's no problem. There's our concentrates now. Now, like I said, we're going to use this pan as a safety pan. We don't want to dump. We spent all this time getting this material. We don't want to dump it back in the creek right here. So we'll get a nice spot right here. We can put that right there. Actually, I need some more deeper water. Maybe I can come over here. Right here, looks good. Put a rock down in our pan. Don't float off on us. There we go. We'll stratify it. Get that material to the corner before we ever start dumping it off. So each time we're going back and forth, it's pushing that material right down to the corner right there, right here. So the stuff on top is this light material. Now we just merely slough it off like that. Back and forth. Get down to a little bit, stratify it again. Get it back down to that corner. Each time you go back and forth, it drives it down to that corner. Each time back and forth, it drives it down to that corner. Just back to that corner. Then do it again. Back and forth. back and forth. You get down to a reasonable amount, you can run it over here to these ribs right here. Get down to the corner. We're going to push that gold right down to that corner right there. And back and forth. I don't see any gold yet, but let's try to get some of these rocks out. Back and forth. We're doing good here. I see our first little speck of gold coming up. Right here. There's a couple specks right here in the corner. I'm going to take this down a little bit further. You got to be a little bit more careful now. The ribs catch the stuff. As soon as you see gold coming out, we're going to stop. See our first speck right here? There's a little speck right there. Another one right there. Real small. Now here's our bigger stuff in the corner. As this stuff moves to the edge, we'll stop. Now we got down to pure black sand now. Here, stratify it one more time. We're gonna get down pure sand. That's nice looking gold there. That's nice. That's really nice. Nothing really, really big, but in this area we're not getting anything really big. We get one little speck right there, so I think I should stop right here. You can try to move it over to this area, but it takes a little bit more skill. It kind of goes in and washes the gold, washes the sand, the black sand out, but it takes a little bit more skill. It goes in and takes the black sand out. And again, I got my safety pan here, so I'm not too worried about losing anything because I always have a second chance of getting it right here. Okay. It's textured right here, so it catches the gold. But we're pure black sand. What this black sand is, it's magnetic. It's actually steel. And why we're catching it is it's heavy. It's hard to flare this out in this hex band, but we'll see what we got here. Like I said, that's all magnetic. That's all steel. It's heavies. There's our gold right there. Let me get a little bit of more water. Looking good. There's that couple nice pieces right there. There's actually some lead right here. Right here. This gray stuff, that's lead. So someone's been shooting around here. Lead's lighter than gold, so we're catching, we got lead, and you got some little garnets right here, some little red garnets. So we got a bunch of nice pieces. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We probably got 24 specks. Nothing, no pickers, but some really fine stuff like this stuff right here. That's how good we're catching that stuff. And this is a garnet right here. This little red thing right here, that's a garnet. Garnets are semi-precious stones. They're red. They're heavy too. You'll find those. But there's our gold right there. That's not too bad. This one's got a rock still stuck on it, looks like. That's our gold right there. I can transfer it to this pan. Now, I never throw this stuff away. And again, if I was out here getting this kind of gold, I'd keep getting behind that rock and spending my time getting more material. Don't throw this stuff out. I say take this home and repan it, take it home. But I want to spend my time processing the material here and not looking at it. I wouldn't get my tweezers and try to pull all this stuff out. So I'm just going to put it in here so I can snuff it up a little bit better. That's really looking nice here. That's really nice. Like I said, nothing really big, but that ain't bad. That's really nice. So this is our snuffer ball. This is how we get our gold up. We ran our sluice box here earlier. That's how I knew we were getting some gold over there. So now what we're going to do is just flare it out. Get rid of the black sand. And just flare it out. There's our gold. Again with our lead shot too. It's a bullet fragment is what it is. So let's come over here. Just one more speck right here. Right there. Really fine. This is the type of gold you'll find out all the time. You won't find, it's a little bit harder to find those ones you can pick up, but this is the actual stuff you find every day. And again, don't ever throw that black sand away. There's still little microfine particles. I'll take this and put it in a machine called a blue bowl. It'll spin it around, it'll separate the black sand and make it down to pure gold. That's our Royal Manufacturing mini HighBanker recirculator. Well, for storage, we leave the carpet out. You don't take wet clothes and put it in your trunk and close your trunk down. We put our carpet aside and we'll assemble it without our carpet. We'll slip our expanded metal in the right direction. The right direction is that there's an angle on it. You can see the angle. Remember, the gold gets trapped behind the big riffles, behind the little riffles. So if I put a ruler on this angle right here, it's at the same angle as the riffle. Backwards would it be upside down. Now, this riffle is facing back this way. It's very important that you put it in the right direction. This is the same true on a dredge, a HighBanker, a sluice box, anything that has expanded metal in there. It's very critically put in the right direction. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it together dry, back together dry, put that back in there in the right direction, slip our riffles back in there. And tomorrow when our carpet's dry, I'll put our carpet back in there. This is polyolefin indoor-outdoor carpet, rib. It does a really good job. You can just close this right back up. Push this thing right here. Snaps back inside there like that. We can take our legs back out. Right there. Those legs right there. Like that leg right there. Leg right there. Take our pump. Well, that's the Royal Manufacturing mini HighBanker recirculator. 2 machines in one with this your recirculating buckets and stuff. It's a really good machine, well built. As you've seen in the Gold Prospector magazine. And we'll hope to see you soon at the creek or at the gold show. See you soon. Thank you. Thanks for watching our video featuring our folding sluice box with our patented locking devices. Goes from 50 inches to 15 inches by merely just pushing a button. Go back like that, locks up with no tools. We have other sluice boxes available, our 54 inch by 10 inch with Hungarian riffles, our 30 inch with riffles there, the flare stores inside. We have other gold prospecting equipment including dry washers, HighBankers, pans, and other tools that you might need, including treasure scoops for metal detecting and all your treasure needs. See us there. Thank you.